Hey crafters, this is Paulette. It is June 2014 and I thought I would pop in and share my Father's Day projects that I made this year. I got this idea from Erin Lincoln and she did this as a Make It Monday challenge in May, I believe, for the Paper Tray Ink company. And she made some notepads out of cardstock. Erin used colored cardstock, but my colored cardstock is too precious to me, so I just used some Georgia Pacific that I got at Walmart. I used to use this cardstock for my card bases, but something's happened to it. It no longer feels like 110 pound, but for this project, it will work perfectly. So I want to talk a little bit about how I cut my cardstock. I will put a link to Erin's Make It Monday challenge so you can go and see how she did hers, because we're all inspired differently by what we see. I'm going to take this 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock and put it in the paper trimmer in this landscape mode. If you have a big paper chopper, and that is how I cut all of these, you can cut 2 pieces at one time and this part will go really fast. But just for demonstration purposes and how I have my camera set up, we're going to cut it on this Stampin' Up! Trimmer. So we're going to cut this at 5.5. And then we have these 2 pieces. We're going to turn them in a landscape orientation as well and cut them at 2 3/4 until the cardstock is all used up. It's going to leave one little scrap of cardstock. And if you're very technical, you could probably go ahead and divide that by 1/16 of an inch and just add 1/16 to each of these pieces. But that gets a little technical for me. I just need to go fast. So it was easier to go at 2 3/4 and just get done. Not mess with those little tick marks. And this gives a very nice size notepad. And I stamped most of mine in this vertical mode. And a couple that I've already given away were in this mode as well. And as this craft evolved for me, I realized I could start stamping them in this horizontal mode. And I really liked that better. It allowed the images to spread out a little bit. I kind of like the feel of them better. Some of your stamps may dictate though. This stamp right here totally dictated which way this was going to be. So you can alter the size of your notepad or just let the stamp speak to you and you'll know which way to go. I chose 2 colors of ink in the same color family, so a light brown and a darker brown, or like this, an orange and a red. I had some that were blue and I had some that were different. This very pale blue is this Craft Smart stamp pad, and I really loved how it turned out as well. I stamped each image from each stamp twice. I stamped it first in a pale ink and then a second one in the darker ink and just threw them aside as I continued to stamp, and then I went back and stamped in all of the sentiments. So this is my nautical one, and it looks like I started out doing, if the image was pale, I stamped the sentiment in a darker, and vice versa. If the image was dark, I stamped the sentiment in a paler ink, and some of those just kind of got lost. So you could see that's what I started to do here, and then the darker ink just really popped. So I ended up stamping all of these with the darker ink for the sentiment, and I really liked that. That's kind of the way things go for me. They evolve as I'm going along. I did choose themes. This one was my nautical theme. I had some that were a hunting theme. I had one that was a rock and roll theme with guitars and drum sets and all musical notes and musical words, and that one was really fun. I tried filming some of my stamping and it just got ridiculous. I either had to get up and go get something else or, and the videos just went on and on. So I thought this was best just to come and show you a snippet of this and give you the general overall idea of it. These were so much fun to stamp. When I also evolved during this craft, I realized I could really cater these notepads to whichever person I was actually stamping it for. So, for instance, this one was for my dad. He worked at the phone company for 30 years, so I've got phones. He grills for us when we go to his house. He is retired, so I've got a few of those in there. He does wear cowboy boots sometimes, so I've got those in there. He loves coffee. He's not really from this era, but kind of, sort of, so I put those images in there. He's a Dodge man, so I put these vehicles in here. These are a little bit older than he is, but I still thought that he would like them. He loves nature. He used to paint oil paintings when I was growing up of horses, so that's in there. He's got a four-wheeler, so you get the idea. More retired. The older bicycles. This again is a little bit old for him, but still. I needed those images. There's another horse. He loves animals, so it was really fun. He has a tractor. So anyway, I actually pulled, as I got going, like I did the nautical theme and I did the rock and roll theme, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I could do a hunting theme, I could do a vehicle theme, and just made stacks of stamps. And then I just pulled sentiments from all over the place to put on them. Some of the sentiments kind of went with the images. Some of them were appreciative, like that, you're the best, I love you. Just to fill up the space. And I got to tell you, I really think I liked these that were horizontal better. This one's for my Uncle Roy, and he grew up on a farm and does some gardening. He's retired as well, so I just kind of did his a very mix of stamps. When I was only doing the light ink and the dark ink, my birds were getting lost on this tree, and I knew I had to start stamping them in a blue or a red, so I really got outside the box here, and just the birds in this one were stamped in that other ink. So just cater them. I did some second generation stamping to go ahead and use that ink that's stuck on the stamp, and then these things that were a line image. I've got something dirty in there. I need to find my eraser and get rid of that. Some of the things that were just a line image, I let them stand alone. That was some adhesive or something. So I love how they turned out. Now, Erin did covers on hers, but after I got all these done and they're laying on my desk, I just really felt like the stamping stood for itself, so I didn't put covers on mine. I used Elmer's glue, the all-purpose glue, to do these. Now this one, can you see it's not level anymore? I've played with them so much, this one's still really level. Once you get all of your stamping done, you need to bind them together, and I used old strips of t-shirt material. You only need to bind this upper portion and then tap the tops and get them nice and level. It does not matter what the bottom is. My paper cutting skills must be really bad because these were all jagged, but I just kept telling myself that's going to make them easier to grab hold of. Some of them were a little better. This one I actually took out the long pieces and tried to trim them down before I even stamped them, but it's all cattywampus now too, so that travels a little bit. I've played with them and filmed too much with them, but I still think they're fun. These would be so much fun to do for all of the women in your family and your friends. Look at all the floral stamps and house mouse and that kind of thing, penny black stamps that we have. would be really fun to make and share. So I just took little puddles of the Elmer's glue and just swiped across here. I laid them on the edge of my paper trimmer so they could dry. If you do a stack of them, by the time you get to the last one, the first one's already dry. And you can add a second and a third application if you want. And I just love them. I can't wait to do some feminine ones. So everybody go to Erin Lincoln's blog. And I believe she's Procrastination Station. So just Google her name, Erin, E-R-I-N, Lincoln, and click on the one that says Procrastination Station. She's just a very innovative crafter. She's got some of her own dies now that they sell over at Paper Tray Inc. And I loved this craft. So go and ask her to add email subscribing to her blog. Now let's talk a little bit about that, email subscriptions on blogs. I'm not getting 80% of the ones I have signed up for. FeedBurner has quit working. And I don't know, Google either didn't let people know or they did and it was too confusing and people just didn't know what to do. I think that I have a WordPress blog, so when you go into the dashboard for your blog and you can choose widgets to go in the sidebar or the header or the footer of your blog. It's like, blogs you follow. You can choose just about anything to put in those side areas or the footer or the header. I think probably when you go in and choose that, whatever blog service you're using, they just have a service that they are using. So like all of the blogger blogs use FeedBurner. Well, it has quit working for over a month now and nobody knows what to do. So I'm afraid those people are going to have to flip their blogs to a different service. I have a WordPress blog and to my recollection, and it used to be a blogger blog, but it was not iPad friendly. So I just went to WordPress and read some of the information and they said they would flip it and flip the whole thing for me. So it did. It extracted all of my posts from Blogger and put them on a WordPress. I did have to go back and edit some of my photos, but when I chose the add the email subscription widget, I don't think it gave me a choice. Whoever's in there is who they use and who gets locked in when you choose that. So I don't know if people can go back to the dashboard of their blog and choose a different company. You see what I mean? So, but the WordPress blogs are still sending stuff out. People who have chose Feed Blitz, their emails are still coming via their blog posts. And it looks like people that have their own domains, like Sizzix, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, I'm still getting email from those people. So that wraps it up for these little notepads. If you guys have any questions, be sure and let me know.